Now, once again, everyone, including the Asian community, is out here assessing the relationship with Black Americans. Why? Why does everybody want to assess that relationship all of a sudden? It's amazing how a little bit more than a year into very strict delineation, how everybody's just trying to recap and figure out what the problems are. I don't get it. I don't get it because everybody, felt that they was better off and we were lazy and all of that, right? So I want you to hear what this young Asian woman has to say. And it's definitely nothing against her, but I just want you to hear her, trying to explain about her community.
I've seen a few comments like this with, Asians and Black people fighting in my comment section. And honestly, it shows how little we actually talk about the history behind all of this. The tension didn't just magically appear. It was shaped by decades of laws, segregation, stereotypes, and political narratives that pushed our communities apart. When Asian immigrants first came to the US, they weren't allowed to live just anywhere. Segregation forced them into Black and brown neighborhoods because those are the only areas open to anyone who wasn't white. So Asians and Black Americans were physically close, but not always connected. Different languages, different histories, limited communication, misunderstandings grew out of that. Then in the 1960s, during the Civil Rights Movement, the US created the model minority myth. The idea that Asian Americans were successful, quiet, and proof that racism doesn't exist. That stereotype was never meant to lift Asians up. It was meant to contrast Asians against Black Americans and basically say, see, they're doing fine, why can't you? It was a political tool that built resentment and pressure on both sides, even though neither community created that narrative. At the same time, anti-Blackness already existed in some Asian cultures because of colonialism, colorism, and Western media influence. And for some Black Americans, their only interactions with Asians were through local businesses, corner stores, nail salons, restaurants, situations that were transactional, not relational. That created frustration and stereotypes on both sides. But here's the thing. In both communities, it's only a small handful of people who are actually hateful or racist. A few loud, ignorant individuals do not represent millions of us. We can't let the worst examples define entire communities. Then COVID hit and all of this got amplified again. Anti-Asian hate skyrocketed. Elderly Asians were attacked, harassed, and blamed for the virus, all because of fear and political scapegoating. Some of the viral videos showed attackers who were Black, and suddenly that tiny number of incidents turned into a whole narrative online like Black people hate Asians, which was inaccurate and unfair. What people forget is that Black activists and Black organizations publicly stood with Asian communities during that time. People protested for us. They protected Asian elders. They spoke out against the hate. But the media rarely highlighted the solidarity, only the violence. And yes, some Asians responded by generalizing those incidents and blaming the entire Black community, which made things even worse, even though the majority of Black people had nothing to do with those attacks. COVID didn't create new racism. It exposed what was already unaddressed and made stereotypes louder because everyone was scared and hurting. But amid all of that, we forget that historically there has also been real solidarity. Asian American activists learned organizing strategies from Black civil rights leaders. Filipino and Black farm workers united under Larry Itliong and Cesar Chavez. Japanese American activists stood with the Black Panthers. Yuri Kochiyama worked alongside Malcolm X. In Oakland, Black and Asian communities built programs together to fight poverty and injustice. These are real alliances. They just don't get talked about as much as the conflicts. That's why we need to zoom out. A handful of ignorant people shouldn't define entire communities. A bad experience shouldn't turn into a stereotype. We shouldn't let old narratives and old wounds be recycled and divide us again. Asians and Black people have both faced discrimination, exclusion, violence, and being treated like outsiders. We have more in common than we think, and when we work together, there's real power, real healing, and real progress. We just have to stop letting fear, stereotypes, and misinformation talk louder than the history and solidarity we actually come from.
Well, young lady, let me say something, right? And I'm a type of person, I don't have no issues with no group of people. I don't. But I am a student of history, and I do believe in calling things right what it is. Realistically, you may be a person that's cool. Maybe some people that in your community think just like you and want to be cool, but here's the problem. You mentioned the model minority myth. White folks put that out there, but a lot of the people in your community took that name as a badge of honor. They took that name as a badge of honor to say, you see, well, look, we are the model minority, and we're not like Black Americans that's always trying to get things stirred up. But what we were stirring up was actually for, human rights, right? So your community took that badge and wore it like honor. Then now you fast forward to today, it's not really a good name because it kind of showed that you went along with white supremacy. That's number one. Number two, yes, there were Asian people that fought for civil rights and human rights. Yes. But let's call it what it is. They were individuals. It wasn't the whole community. If we had the whole community, or even half, 80% of the community, even more, fight for human rights, civil rights alongside black people, it wouldn't be no discussion. But you know good and well that did not happen. So these were a minority of Asians, right? There's always going to be a minority of other groups that's going to stand for what's right. But the tensions a lot of times came when the white people put y'all in the black neighborhoods. And then what they were doing when a lot of y'all came in through different wars and stuff like that, so like the Vietnam War or Korean War, different places like that, they gave y'all loans to open up businesses in black communities where black communities couldn't even get a business themselves. They did that with every immigrant group, whether it's the East Indians, whether it's Arab groups. They got businesses in the black communities, and black communities can't even have business there themselves, and you're being funded by the U.S. government. That created tension too. Then some of y'all, we know there is a division within the Asian community. So you have the dark-skinned Asians, you know what I'm saying, like your Cambodians, you know, your Filipinos and people like that. You have your darker-skinned Asians versus your whiter-looking Asians, right? Like the Japanese, etc. And I know y'all got a major divide in there. I know that the darker-skinned Asians are heavily discriminated against. So y'all got those issues going on too within your community. So if you got that going on, you think it don't carry over to black folk? So if them lighter-skinned Asians that don't like the darker-skinned Asians, they don't like black people either. So you have that issue also going on. And East Indians is considered Asians. And you know how some of them feel about black folks. And the crazy part is they the same color as black folks. That's crazy. But they discriminatory even in their own country, because you got some Indians that's darker than me, and they can't stand them. So y'all have a lot of issues going on within your community, but in relation to us, y'all talking about tensions, there's no tension. I want to make that perfectly clear. Black Americans have no tension with Asians. You know why you have no tension with Asians? Because we're not worried what Asians got going on. We're not in your business. We're not in your mix like that. So there's no tension. Which y'all have to understand that black people, black Americans in particular, have delineated. And with delineation, that's actually brought peace, because we're not dealing with tensions with no other communities that way. We're like, hey, man, y'all do what y'all doing. God bless y'all. Hope y'all fix that. But we worry about black American, what we're doing here in America. You understand? Because we have neglected black America for so long. We have neglected our children. We've neglected our businesses. We've neglected our careers. We've neglected our way of life. We're now gatekeeping our culture, what we should have been doing for a very long time. We're not giving just free tickets to the cookout no more, because delineation is here. And because of delineation, it's the main reason why y'all are assessing the relationship you had with black folk. Because I guess some of y'all thought we would always be around, and now you're not seeing black folks, or I'm going to say you see us, but we're not really trying to interact like that. We were more centering ourselves. We're trying to find more black-owned businesses to go shop with, black-owned restaurants to go eat with. It's nothing against other groups of people. No, it's no. If we want some Asian food, we have no problem going and get it. But what I'm saying is, since we have delineated, you know, and a lot of sisters are opening their eyes about how they've been treated in these nail salons, how they've been treated in some of these beauty shops. A lot of sisters have been boycotting that too. And then now y'all trying to give major discounts to get black women back in these shops, because these beauty supply stores, that y'all know your main customer is black women. And I don't understand why y'all should have been the biggest friend of black people for that alone. But it's also, you know, talk about how, especially the Koreans, how they always blocked out black women from getting in the business, doing dirty things to stop their supply. The moment we delineate, all your business is done, because white women not coming to your beauty supply stores. They're not. That's what black women do. You getting all these billions of dollars a year from black women. And what a lot of black women are saying, hey, we're going to open up our own. We're going to shop with our own. We're going to keep the money circling in the black community. Like that's the only reason why a lot of y'all are assessing this now, because people's money is getting touched now. I'm not saying her money in particular, but we're talking about just in her community that some of the money being touched. Delineation is hitting pockets. And that's good. You know why that's good? Because because when you make people respect you and don't just willy-nilly give them your money, they got to come correct. They got to. The folks, too. They got to. Don't you think the folks didn't like what happened on Black Friday? The folks didn't like that. It wasn't the white community talking about boycott Black Friday. It was us saying, hey, man, these people firing us from jobs for no reason. We ain't got no money. Might well don't be shopping with these people. They don't like that. No other groups are leading the charge like that. Economic boycotts is the best boycott you can ever do. You commit no crime. They can't tase you. They can't shoot you with rubber bullets. They can't pepper spray you. They can't put you in jail. You are boycotting from the comfort of your home. The best thing ever you can do. And Dr. King showed us a long time ago that economic boycotts is the way to go. So, we good. We don't have no tensions. We really don't. Because we don't even interact like that. Most Black Americans do not interact like that unless you go to a store. We're not flooding H Mart. We're not doing that. So, yeah, y'all can fix. Now, I would suggest y'all do fix the anti-Black racism in your community. I do suggest that. And maybe we can come to the table, you know, when y'all serious about it, I guess. But until then, fix your issues. Fix your internal issues first before you even come this way. Because y'all got your own colorism going on within the Asian community. Yeah, leave us out of that one. We got to fix our own stuff. But I want y'all to see delineation is making everybody assess the relationship between them and Black America.